Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry.
I'm Rick Mallon.
I'm Maggie Singh.
Good to meet you.
Hi.
Hello.
Good morning. Hey, what role has your family played in shaping the person you've become today?
Well, in shaping everything that I'm involved in, probably my sister has played the most important role. Just because she's 6 years older than me, so I always really looked up to her. So I kind of followed in her footsteps in a lot of ways. She was in tennis, I joined tennis. She was in German, I joined German. Decathlon, obviously, I joined because, not necessarily because she was in it, but it definitely put decathlon in my mind. So she's probably the major reason why I ended up in all the things I'm in. But as far as personality-wise, it's my dad's really had a major effect on me. We have a lot of conversations. They start with nothing and they end up being really meaningful conversations to me. And we're very alike, and he's been very nurturing, and he'll guide me but not push me in any direction. And he definitely has affected me a lot, just with more of the person that I am today. So probably my dad the most has affected me, and then my mom always inspires me to get involved in things and just do things to help other people. That's almost her whole goal in life is she's involved in this Irving Boys Football Association, and it brings so much stress into her life, and I always ask her, why do you do this? And every time she says it's because the kids need someone to work for them. So definitely in my immediate family, all three of them have affected me in a lot of ways.
Okay. How has academic decathlon impacted you?
It's affected me in a lot of ways again, but the one that's most personal is I just love decathlon, and it's brought me this sense of accomplishment that I have never felt before. Regionals was wonderful. I was in decathlon last year, and I did okay, and I got that sense of accomplishment again, but I did much better at regionals than I have ever done in the past. And that feeling up on that stage when all of those hours you've completely dedicated to decathlon, all the things you've sacrificed, your social life, your television, all of the habits that you had before you gave up so that you could be on that stage, and ending up on that stage is a wonderful feeling. And that's probably the thing that has impacted me the most, is that if I need to put that much work into everything I do, because that feeling at the end is priceless.
Okay, for something a little different. What's your favorite song? And what message is it delivering?
Well, not surprisingly to most people that know me, I am in love with the Beatles. And my favorite song it's actually the last song they ever wrote, which I used to think, they just knew, this is the last thing we're going to do. We need to make it the best thing we've ever done. And it's called Golden Slumbers Medley. And it's 3 songs, but really it's one song. So, and it takes us through life. They start with birth and then talk about midlife, and then they end with the end. And the last lyric is, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. And that has just really changed my outlook on things. I want to be able to have everything equaling out when I end different parts of my journey. Just like with how decathlon has impacted me, I want to feel content at the end of things. So Golden Summers medley is definitely my favorite, just because of that message it gave to me.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What do you hope to do in life?
I definitely see myself teaching. I'm out of college, and I guess I'm a first-year teacher, and I see myself really happy in that position. I've gotten a chance to tutor a little bit. My freshman year, I tutored a little bit, and then in German, for German 3 week, we get to go to the elementary schools and teach German, and I just really like teaching, and I hope to be teaching math because I adore math, and I just want to be able to make everyone see that it's not the most horrid subject in the world, which unfortunately a lot of my friends think that way, and I know a lot of high schoolers feel that way. So I hope to be teaching math, hopefully high school math in 5 years.
If you were to have a conversation with a historical figure, who would it be, and what would that conversation be like?
I would really like to talk to Sandra Day O'Connor. She was the first woman on the Supreme Court, and I had never really thought about law or anything. I know that's a very common dream to want to become a lawyer, but I never thought about it much until I had government, and we learned more about Supreme Court cases, and we read the opinions and things, and that just really intrigued me. So just for that aspect, I'd like to talk to her about the enjoyment she got out of being on the court that is, the highest law of the land, and also she has kind of a sad story. She wanted to be the Chief Justice, but Rehnquist looked like he was never going to step down, and her husband was sick with Alzheimer's, so she decided to go ahead and step off the court. And by the time she got back, her husband didn't really remember her at all. And then just a short while after that, Rehnquist did. He stepped down or died or something. But she would have been next in line because she was the next with the most years. So now she's very involved in. She helps the cases, but obviously she's not on the court anymore. So I would just like to talk to her about, dealing with that sort of complete, that's heartbreaking, and how she's just dealt with it and is still involved in what she loves to do. So I'd really like to talk to her about it.
Okay, you said you've been in Decathlon last year and this year. What's been the most challenging you've had over those 2 years?
With both years, it's been Super Quiz. It's just the one that, right off the bat, it's the scariest because of the public aspect. And then this year, it's not history. History's a little bit easier to read about for me. It's science, and not that I'm bad at science or anything. It's just not as quick of a read. And so, Super Quiz has been the hardest both years, but it's been the hardest, but it's also been the one that I've been able to get the most of that feeling that I keep talking about at the end, because it's the one that I work the hardest at. It's the one that I spend probably a little bit of time every day on Super Quiz, just because I'm scared to death that I'm going to get asked one of those questions and everyone in my life is going to see me get it wrong. And just, Super Quiz, those 5 questions count for so much more. If I miss one of those questions, it hurts my team more than any other questions I could miss. So Super Quiz has been the hardest, but it's also been the one that pays off the most because it's the one I dedicate most of my time to.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.